More likely than not, if you've seen Game of Thrones, you probably consider Jaime Lannister's bathtub scene to be his best scene in the entire story. And while this is definitely a phenomenal moment, what if I were to tell you there is a scene in the books that I believe to be far better, and it was never adapted in the TV show? So before I actually get into what happens, I want to set the framework for when this happens. This scene takes place right after Jaime leaves Harrenhal and leaves Brienne. And in the TV show, he decides to go back to Brienne because he has a sudden change of heart. This scene actually gives you the context and the reason for why he decides to go back and save her. While on the long way to King's Landing, Jaime is given some wine that is supposed to ease his pain and put him to sleep. Because of this, he decides to lay down on a tree stump and take a nap. And please, take note of this tree stump because it's going to be very important later on. So as he's drifting off, he starts to have this very vivid dream. At the start of this dream, Jaime follows Tywin Lannister down into the caves under Casterly Rock. And for some reason, Jaime has a feeling that he is walking towards his demise. Then all of a sudden, he is pushed off a ledge into a shallow pit of water. Shallow enough that he can stand, but it does delay his movements a bit. And as he picks up his head, he sees dozens of past and current Lannisters. Standing in front of him is not only Cersei, Tywin, and Joffrey, but also previous lords of Casterly Rock. He then asks Cersei why their father has brought them here, and her response is, he didn't bring Cersei anywhere, this is a place just for Jaime. It is also important to note that Jaime is naked at this moment. And right before his father and Cersei disappear into the abyss, he asks them to give him a sword. And Tywin responds saying that he's already given him one, and thus Jaime finds a sword at his feet. Jaime also has both of his hands for this encounter. Then, all of a sudden, from behind him, Brienne of Tarth appears, also naked and given a sword, and Jaime describes her as beautiful in this light. Both Brienne and Jaime's swords then ignite with fire, and Cersei tells him that if those lights go out, they go out with them, they will die. Then in the depths of the darkness, something starts to move, and all Jaime knows is that it's coming for them. But what actually ended up approaching Jaime and Brienne is the ghosts of the original King's Guard that Jaime served with, including Lewin Martell, the Prince of Dorne, Gerald Hightower, the White Bull, Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, and most importantly, Rhaegar Targaryen. And instead of immediately attacking Jaime physically, they start to chastise him emotionally and mentally. They question his character, calling into question his oaths, saying things such as, "He was your king, you swore to keep him safe," with Prince Rhaegar himself saying that he left his wife and kids under Jaime's protection. Jaime tries to defend himself, he tries to explain his reasoning, but they aren't hearing any of it. And then, as the ghosts get closer and closer, they attack Jaime and Brienne physically, extinguishing both of their flames. But just as Brienne is about to be consumed by the ghosts, Jaime starts screaming, "No, no, no." And then all of a sudden, he wakes up. And when he gets up, he looks at the stump that he was sleeping on and starts to describe it. And he says that more than anything, it looks just like the tree in Winterfell, the tree that Eddard Stark loved. Jaime was not having these crazy dreams because of some moon wine, he was sleeping on a weirwood. And the ghosts that Jaime was seeing are the symbolic manifestations of his own internal guilt. They are symbolic of the insecurity that Jaime has for himself, and they're symbolic of his self-doubt. Not only do they make him question the decisions he's made in the past, but they make him question the decision he's making with Brienne right now. And this dream is ultimately what causes him to go back to Brienne and save her life. And after Jaime saves Brienne, she asks him why he did this. And then he drops one of the greatest lines in all of A Song of Ice and Fire, saying, "Well, I dreamt of you." And I have to be honest with you, my friends, this is not only my personal favorite Jaime Lannister scene, this is one of my favorite scenes in all of fiction. It is just absolute perfection.